Welcome to the Overlord Starter Guide. Be going over what you need to do for Overlord. Alright, you select your target, you press Armageddon, and that's it. Alright, thank you for watching.
You serious?
Just kidding. Alright, we'll be primarily going over the things you need to do to be successful with Overlord. Armageddon is pretty much all the offensive capabilities that you will be doing in this. But we will start with, I guess, what we usually do with the belt. I have enough Yeshiva belts. I just use Yeshiva Beast, primarily what you're going to be against. But if you want to start with a bear skin belt, you need the Azura Magical, since most of your abilities are magical inherently, not physical. So you need the bear skin belt, Azura Magical. Belt pets are going to be 3 white dragons, an S5 Baphomet, and this can be another dragon. This is my old Ethereal Pixie that I used on this one. So I swapped to a gold Liquid Lust. But you can, again, just use a third or fourth white dragon. If you're missing enough, you can use an Ethereal Pixie. It does accuracy and wisdom, or M accuracy and wisdom. But really doesn't matter that much. So just use whatever. If you just want to use 4 S3 white dragons, that's fine. You're not really going to have any issues with that. Boss cards. You're definitely going to want a Devil Reviac. You can technically use the Hector. It's not a terrible option until you get a Devil Reviac. Or you can use the pet card for Overlord. But personally speaking, your pets are not going to be your main source of damage. Even gold pets, that's not going to be your main source of damage. Gold pets do a decent amount, but it's going to be you using Armageddon. So you should prioritize just your own usage of Armageddon, not their damage. For skills, it's pretty much just going to be Armageddon. For later areas like Battle of Ancients, where you can farm books, Nusalite gear, stuff like that, you're going to use Creature MP Extract and Mana Scroll or the Mana Tea that you can drink. But you'll be pretty much fine with MP Extract. You just use it on cooldown, and it'll keep you up. And then if you have the Gold LL, you can just use Hymn of Tranquility, and you'll be good. Your main toggles for me, because I don't use physical pets, they're not really as good at, as I mentioned before. Pets don't do the majority of the damage here. It's going to be you. It's going to be Summon Mastery. You don't really need it. I just have it just because of habit. It doesn't really cost you anything. Spirit Support, because again, our pets are M attack based. Even this, which is an Astaroth, it's just a Crystal Golem, just a gold pet version, is magical attack based. And then Aura of Halicia. Now, the reason why I do Halicia is its percentage. Get a 15.6% increase versus Inspiration, which is 400. Now, you can probably do this, kind of getting away with it, but I found when you have stats that are above 4,000, it can be better off using the percentage, because for the most part, your pets should be above 4,000 stat for your main one. This one's a little buggy. Let's see, this one's not broken. They're all pretty much broken. But the main stats are almost always going to be above 4,000. So you'll be fine using the percentage one. I find it works better. Your gear is going to be Intel and Crit. If you use Intelligence and Crit, again, Armageddon is M attack based. You're basically a Void Mage pet class. This is what Overlord is pretty much. It's just caster of the pet classes, whereas Beastmaster's the physical acts as like a berserker, but a pet class. The weapon is going to be one-hand mace and mage wall. Got to get the 4%, 3%, and then the 8%, 5% for wisdom and M attack. Every time you get 8% wisdom, you get automatically 5% M attack. Same thing here. If you get 4% M attack, you get 3% P attack, but we just want the M attack, but it just comes by default. The awakening bonuses, I recommend getting M attack, intelligence. I was very lazy on this one. Didn't really bother rolling this one yet. I just got the intel, threw it on, and wanted to do some testing with it. But you don't need the Yeshiva ring. You can just use your Crotula rings or just normal rings for until you can get your second reborn with Crotula, and then you'll be fine. Your pets are going to mainly be Crystal Golem and Ethereal Pixie, both S5. And then you'll eventually move on to a Gold Liquid Lust as fast as you can, just because of damage done to the Ethereal Pixie and Crystal Valley and a lot of the other endgame areas are going to be too much for the Ethereal Pixie, whereas the Liquid Lust can handle that damage no problem. That's just due to the resistance that's on the LL. It's passives. For resistance, it reduces most of the damage by Devil, which is most of the mobs at endgame. And yeah, you're pretty much fine. And even Dragon, it doesn't really do that much damage to it. So when you can get a gold LL, because this should be probably your second character before Templar, you're going to probably roll a bit. So you can get a second Liquid Lust and an Astaroth, you can do it, or just make a S5 Golem. Astaroth isn't really worth it unless you get it first, and then you can make it S5 for Master Devotion and the Unity for Koala for crit. Besides that, you can just use an S5 Golem and a Liquid Lust, Gold Liquid Lust, and you'll be fine. The pet, you'll use the Grand Master Hector potion. It gives you intelligent and attack. It's the biggest one of the bunch, so just use that. You want to use Camper. If you don't use Camper, you will die very quickly, even with pass damage on. It won't go very well if you do not use pass damage and Camper. I made a little oopsie. I skipped over the gear skills. So this will be an edit before I start this, but it is what it is. So there's two skills primarily for Overlord on your gear that you should be rolling for. The main one is Mastermind, which is your top skill here. It increases your intelligence by 20%. And then as you get higher, it's 30%, 40%, 50%. It currently doesn't work. So until that gets fixed, your second option is Raise, which will increase the M attack for your Armageddon. Alright, now I'm just going to demonstrate a Reborn for you. So, generally speaking, get all this stuff done before you Reborn, because getting it done after kind of can suck, especially for the Budka stuff. So, get your Budka on, use your Grace, yada yada, put the Devil Revive back on. Make sure you use all of the skills you need to, and then we just go to Reborn. Done. Now we run. I usually get to 165, 167, depends on how much this gives us. And then go right into CV. CV can be a little hectic when you're under 180, and then you can kick on. As a general thing, I keep the pets at level 180. So when you get back to level 180, you can just summon them. I don't like keeping them high level just because you have to get to that level in order to summon them and get EXP for it. If you have them out before that, you don't get any EXP because they count as high level pets. So just make sure that you have them at least at 180. So I haven't popped this yet. I don't pop this until I'm 180. Just because it is a little easier. So you get the first bench here. Back up a little bit. Sometimes Armageddon bugs out like that. But here you go. Now they're all dead. Now they're all dead. And this is pretty much what you can do. You just gather all the mobs. Cast Armageddon. Alright, so now that we're 180, summon your Liquid Lust first. This is because of past damage. Does the last pet summoned? So if you summon your Astaroth first and then your Liquid Lust, the past damage will be used on the Liquid Lust, and it does not have nearly the same health pool as a Crystal Golem, or in this case the Astaroth, which is just the gold pet version of it, as I mentioned before. Also, note, you don't need both of them using Master Devotion. That was only the giant health was because of this. This increases the HP by a ton. So, remember, you can right-click these. That'll automatically activate them. So when you use creature attack, it'll just automatically use your abilities. This is why I use the pets, in case you get feared. You can use Might of the Underworld. Just keep in mind, if you run a lot, you're gonna get out of range. So occasionally when I'm running and pulling stuff like this, your pets will be out of range. And it doesn't stay activated, so you're gonna constantly have to toggle Might of the Underworld. It just increases your HP by 100k or so, which is nice here because you do take a fair amount of damage. See, you could take about 16k and your health will drop rapidly. That is the point of the aggro on your Crystal Golem Astaroth, to take the heat off of you. The healing abilities, I keep them on the hotbar. I don't keep them on the pet bar, just because it is quick and easy. So, in this case, since we all have damage, I will use the Undine's heal, which AoE heals everything. If I have a ton of damage, you can just use the 8/9, which is, again, from the Liquid Lust. It's 2 healing abilities that are single target. That's generally what I do. And then Crystal Golem has a pretty large heal as well, which does most of your HP. And then with the Gold Liquid Lust, it also comes with Spirit of Undine, which does a good chunk of your HP. So, as long as your Liquid Lust is right by you, sometimes it gets feared or frozen, it'll get stuck. But as long as it's by you, you'll be mostly fine. So don't worry about that too much. And yeah, this is pretty much what you can do as a Overlord. It's pretty safe. I would say it's probably the 3rd best of the classes on here. You still have Templar, which is the most versatile. It can pretty much do whatever it wants as long as you have it geared up and you properly use the Righteous Purpose and stuff on it. And Void Mage, which is pretty close right behind it. So this would be number 3 on the server for viability and sustainability. It's a little better than VM in terms of survivability and endgame content, from what I've seen, because the pets help. Like, you can heal. VM struggles with that a little bit, especially with the mana. There's a lot of areas like Battle of Ancients that it can struggle with mana recovery. But here, this one's fine. You just use Creature MP Extract and you won't have any mana issues. But yeah, this has been a general starter guide for Overlord. I hope you enjoy.